The Renaissance and the rise of asylums. During the early part of the Renaissance, a period of flourishing cultural and scientific activity from about 1400 to 1700, demonological views of abnormality continued to decline. German physician Johann Weyer, the first physician to specialize in mental illness, believed that the mind was as susceptible to sickness as the body was. He is now considered the founder of the modern study of psychopathology. The care of people with mental disorders continued to improve in this atmosphere. In England, such individuals might be kept at home while their families were aided financially by the local parish. Across Europe, religious shrines were devoted to the humane and loving treatment of people with mental disorders. Perhaps the best known of these shrines was at Geel in Belgium. Beginning in the 15th century, people came to Geel from all over the world for psychic healing. Local residents welcomed these pilgrims into their homes, and many stayed on to form the world's first colony of mental patients. Geel was the forerunner of today's community mental health programs, and it continues to demonstrate that people with psychological disorders can respond to loving care and respectful treatment. Many patients still live in foster homes there, interacting with other residents, until they recover. Unfortunately, these improvements in care began to fade by the mid-16th century. Government officials discovered that private homes and community residences could house only a small percentage of those with severe mental disorders and that medical hospitals were too few and too small. More and more, they converted hospitals and monasteries into asylums, institutions whose primary purpose was to care for people with mental illness. These institutions were begun with the intention that they would provide good care. Once the asylums started to overflow, however, they became virtual prisons where patients were held in filthy conditions and treated with unspeakable cruelty. In 1547, for example, Bethlehem Hospital was given to the City of London by Henry VIII for the sole purpose of confining the mentally ill. In this asylum, patients bound in chains cried out for all to hear. The hospital even became a popular tourist attraction. People were eager to pay to look at the howling and gibbering inmates. The hospital's name, pronounced Bedlam by the local people, has come to mean a chaotic uproar. Such asylums remained a widely used form of care until the late 1700s. Bewitched or bewildered. A great fear of witchcraft swept Europe beginning in the 1300s and extending through the enlightened Renaissance. Tens of thousands of people, mostly women, were thought to have made a pact with the devil. Some appear to have had mental disorders, which caused them to act strangely. This woman is being dunked repeatedly until she confesses to witchery. The crib. Outrageous devices and techniques, such as the crib, were used in asylums, and some continued to be used even during the reforms of the 19th century. Bedlam. In this 18th century work from the Rake's Progress, William Hogarth depicted London's Bethlehem Hospital, or Bedlam, as a chaotic asylum where people of fashion came to marvel at the strange behavior of the inmates.